After class, the professor learned from his Japanese colleague that it was a Japanese Akita dog, and the number 8 hanging on its collar meant lucky in Japan. So the professor simply named it Hachi. When he asked his colleague if he wanted to adopt it, the colleague smiled and refused, saying that Hachi had already chosen him as its master and would be loyal to him until death from that moment on. In order to keep Hachi, when they got home, they started to play the rogue on the floor. The wife looked at her husband lying on the floor and was quite speechless just when the professor was about to take advantage of the situation and persuade his wife to keep the little dog. Suddenly, there was a noise in the room. It turned out that Hachi had destroyed the handicraft that the wife had spent months making.
Oh no, Parker, that's months of hard work.
As expected, they were driven out of the house. At night, Hachi was still locked outside the storeroom. The wind was howling outside, the fallen leaves were rustling. Its round eyes saw through the crack that the master seemed to have had a big quarrel with his wife. Hachi also realized that it seemed to have made a mistake, so it lay in its little nest, waiting for the judgment of the next day. But before long, the master came over. It turned out that the professor was afraid that Hachi would be scared there by itself, so he secretly came over and carried it into the house. Having just quarreled with his wife, he didn't dare to go back to the room, so he simply held Hachi and watched a baseball game. They ate popcorn from the same bucket, and neither of them disliked the other. When the wife came downstairs, the professor had already fallen asleep on the sofa. Just as she was about to turn off the TV, Hachi licked her fingers in a flattering way. The wife just gave it a blank look, and her heart didn't waver. At this time, the professor was awakened by their movement. He held Hachi and kept apologizing. Looking at her husband's cautious appearance, the wife realized that she seemed to have gone a bit too far.